Hello. So the next module, Module 4, we're going to talk about communication and marketing rules for Medicare Advantage and Part D plans. It doesn't mention MedSups, but we really, follow the same rules for MedSups in general. So what you'll find if you are if you're involved in other lines of insurance, you're going to find that marketing Medicare is different than what you're used to. And we're going to talk about how it's different and why it's different. So we're going to cover general background information. I can kind of give you an idea as to why the rules are the way they are. And I think it helps make it all kind of fall into place. Regulation of materials, communication and marketing, identification, how we know who marketing reps are, how you become a marketing rep, the training that's involved, what's allowed as far as contacts, what's not allowed, rules related to sales and educational events, marketing and individual appointments, general audience and email, required and prohibited practices, accessing and using certain plan materials, plan ratings, further info on prohibited activities, and then a general discussion of marketing activities. So as you can see, there's a lot in this module, but I do think that it's really important that you understand the basics of what you can and can't do. So a few years ago, CMS made a distinction between marketing and communication. So the difference is communication, it's materials and activities that just provide information. It's educational. It's just something that provides info. Marketing, they consider it a subset of communications, but we really look at it as two separate things. And marketing is more sales. You're going to talk about company specifics and plans and details regarding a company or a plan. So activities and materials are looked at based on if they're marketing or geared towards sales or communications and just providing information. Okay. Marketing is looked at, it says, a higher degree of regulation and oversight, and again we'll talk about that. So, I mentioned earlier, this refers to Medicare Advantage plans with or without drug coverage, drug plans, cost plans, Medicare and Medicaid plans, which in our situation would be dual eligible. It doesn't list Medicare supplements, but the companies really do, it's still covered, Medicare subs, even though it's not listed here. If you're going to market, you do really still have to follow the rules for MedSups. So what is marketing? There's two things that they look at: intent and content. So intent is, the purpose. It's to draw people's attention to a company or to a plan or group of plans. So what are you trying to do when you're marketing? Ultimately, you're trying to either sell or keep people in their plan. Okay, so the intent in marketing is either to basically to sell or to encourage people to stay in their plan. And then content, as I've said, it can be info about specific benefits and premiums and cost sharing and a comparison, rankings and star ratings, and all of this we're going to talk about further. And communication, again, it's just providing information. So, you know, I know I was talking about United Healthcare and their resources that are available. And the only reason I bring up United Healthcare is because they really have a lot of what I think are great resources that we have access to on Jarvis. I personally think they have better resources than other companies. I wish they all did have, you know, comparable to what United Healthcare has or the options that they have. They do have some publications that are just educational in nature. You know, what's the difference between A and B, and the difference between a Medicare Advantage and a Medicare Supplement. That kind of, you know, if you're sending that to someone, I mean, that's communication, it's educational, it's just giving information. There's no marketing content at all. So it's totally separate. Now, it does say evidence of coverage is they consider it a communication material, while the summary of benefits and the annual notice of change are marketing material. I thought that was kind of interesting. The evidence of coverage goes into much greater detail than the summary of benefits or the annual notice of change. So really the evidence of coverage that's sent to some, or it's sent to someone that's already on the plan, while the summary of benefits is something that you could show someone, you know, the benefits of the plan to hopefully get them interested in that plan if it's a good plan for them. And then the annual notice of change also is something that's sent to people, maybe September, I think usually, and it lets them know if you stay in this plan the next year, these are the changes that are taking place. So they do consider those marketing materials, but the evidence of coverage they consider as communication, just giving information. And then regulation of communications material. You know, it's a bit different. As I said earlier, CMS doesn't look at the communication materials like they do marketing. I just recently, for the first time in the years that I've been involved in Medicare, was involved to get CMS approval on a piece. Normally don't have to do that. Again, we usually use things that have been CMS approved already. What the different companies offer. Excelis has some pieces, UHC has pieces, as I've said. Aetna, those are all CMS approved already. Makes it easier for us because we don't have to mess around with getting CMS approval. So there are certain things on communication material that might have to be listed. They also prohibit the use of certain claims or language. So, you know, it's not held at the same level of regulation as marketing pieces are. So regulation of communications activities, contact and content. CMS regulates how people are contacted. We're going to go into that in greater detail. And that's a big difference, I think, from what you're used to if you market for other lines. And then contents, what you can say and what you can't say. So these are some examples of communication only materials. When I went through this module, there's so many slides, I took a bunch out. I kept this one in because I thought it was interesting to see what some of the examples are and what they consider to be communication only materials. And I'm not somebody that's, you know, really likes to read from a slide, but I'm going to read the first one anyway. A flyer that says Superior Healthcare Company offers many Medicare Advantage plan choices. One may be right for you, and then it gives the phone number. So the reason that that's considered communication only is because it doesn't include benefit info, cost sharing, premium, star ratings, or comparison. And then it talks about, a letter that's sent to people to remind them that they have to get their flu shot. It's communication. It doesn't talk about plans. It's telling people you should go get a flu shot. And then things that are designated because they don't, as communications, because they don't meet the intent standard, such as evidence of coverage, formulary, or provider directory. So regulation of marketing materials in general. There are activities that are regulated as far as the setting, where, where the marketing is taking place, who can market, when you can market, how you can contact people, and content, what you can say. I've had people through the years, agents say, oh, it's too confusing. I don't want to be involved in Medicare. I personally don't think it is that confusing. What you have to keep in mind, and what I think makes this all kind of make sense, is that people that are on Medicare, whether it be someone that's 65 or older or someone that's younger that qualifies for Medicare, they're considered a protected class. So if you keep that in mind, they're considered a protected class. I think that a lot of this really makes sense, and I think you'll understand in a bit. So examples of marketing activities can be talking to somebody about a particular plan. Again, we're talking about the plan. Handing out brochures and a summary of benefits at an event. Calling current clients, and that current client part is important because you'll see that there's no cold calling in the Medicare world. You cannot cold call people, but you can call current clients. If you already have a business relationship with them, you're able to give them a call. But it's considered a marketing activity. Calling to discuss premium changes, benefit changes, talking to them about potentially staying in their plan if that's what is their best option. And then passing out plan-specific benefit info and business cards. Now that's a change the past few years. You used to not be able to hand out business cards. You had to wait. I mean, you could give them to somebody and say, feel free to hand these out to your, friends and Medicare eligible, friends and neighbors. But just handing out business cards, there used to be more of a regulation regarding that than there is now. So that's changed a bit. But these are all examples of marketing activities. Marketing materials, general audience materials, brochures, direct mail, newspaper. So this is all going to be if they contain marketing content. Marketing rep scripts. For telemarketing, it's a little misleading because you can't just, in most situations, you can't just pick up the phone and randomly call people unless you have that business relationship. Presentation materials such as slides, charts, anything that maybe shows the benefits in particular plans. And then social media, again, that mention a plan star rating, note its low premium. So you get the idea. Marketing materials is going to be something that gears someone towards a specific plan, a specific set of plans, a specific company. And then regulation of marketing materials. Content. So CMS does regulate the materials. They may require that there are certain disclaimers or other information be included. Again, there's a lot out there that's available to us that's already CMS approved. Saves us the time of having to go through that process. And I've truly, again, recently, the first time I've ever been involved in getting something CMS approved. Prior to that, never had a situation where I couldn't come up with what someone was looking for as far as marketing materials through a company that's already been CMS approved. And then review and approval. CMS, again, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, requires that all marketing materials be submitted. Okay. The plan sponsors, if there's third party entities, downstream entities, if there's something specific that you're looking for as far as a marketing material, just give me a call, and I'm confident that we can come up with that for you. If not, I'm familiar with the process of going to CMS. So rules that apply to these materials and activities. Kind of obvious. I mean, you can't mislead, confuse, or provide materially inaccurate info to beneficiaries. Again, they look at it as a protected class. You can't target people based on low income unless we're looking at people that are dually eligible, which is eligible for Medicare and Medicaid. You can't target people based on health status unless it's a chronic care or special needs plan. Or you can't say or imply that the plans are only available to seniors, because remember, younger people that have been on Social Security disability, for example, are eligible for Medicare, or specific people that have specific diseases that we talked about previously. So applicability of Medicare communications and marketing rules to marketing reps. Plan marketing reps include individuals employed by a plan. So if somebody is a career agent, which means that they are only able to offer one company's plans. So if somebody is a career agent, they work for a specific company, they're considered marketing reps. And then you're all considered marketing reps. It says brokers and agents that are under an FMO or a GA. So you're all, if you're licensed and appointed to sell Medicare as an individual agent, you're independent agent, you are considered a marketing rep. So requirements to act as a marketing rep. You have to be licensed. In New York State, it's the LA license, life agent. You have to be appointed with the company, and you have to go through the certification process. Now, this says, and it said this on this in this module for years, and I don't really know why. It says they also must pass a written test each year. There's no written test. It's all done online. I don't know if they're referring to the AHIP, but the AHIP is done online. So you have to be licensed. You have to be appointed with the company, and you have to go through the certification process annually. Now, the certifications for the next year start coming out end of June, beginning of July. So just kind of be aware of that. And then unsolicited contacts. So again, talked about how seniors, people on Medicare, are considered a protected class. And where that really comes into play is that they have to make that first contact. So this is all things that you cannot do. You can't go door to door. You can't approach people you can't approach people. You can't call people unless you have a business relationship. You can't text people. And again, if it's somebody that you have a business relationship with, it's different. You can send mass bulk emails. You can send things in the mail, advertise in the newspaper, that type of thing. Because think about it, you're, maybe sending a piece in the mail or putting an advertisement in a publication. The person that sees that then has to make that first point of contact by picking up the phone and giving you a call. So keep that in mind as to what you can't do. More examples of what you can't do. You can do a lot, but this is what you can't do. You can't make unsolicited calls about other business as a means of generating leads for Medicare plans. So you can't call someone concerning a line that maybe a line of coverage that doesn't have these rules, and then just saying, talking to them and finding out that they're maybe turning 65 next year and saying, oh, I can help you with your Medicare options. So you can't do bait and switch. You can't make unsolicited contacts based on referrals, but you can say, have them call me. They have to, again, make that first point of contact. You can leave your business cards if you're meeting with a client. You can leave your business cards and say, please feel free to give these to your friends and family and have them give me a call, and I can help them with their Medicare options. You can't call someone who is voluntarily disenrolling unless they've consented to that contact. You can't call people who attend an event unless they fill out what's called, and I have it here, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's a permission to call that United Healthcare has these. So if you have people that fill out these permission to call, it's, they check, yes, I'd like more information. They put their name, their address, their phone number, and then they can put their email. This gives you the okay to call them. Okay, so it's not any longer unsolicited. If you have a permission to call, you can give them a call. So permitted contacts, what can you do? You can email, but at the bottom of the email, you have to give an unsubscribe or opt out instructions so that they can opt out of further emails. You can call people that you have a business relationship with. You can return calls. If somebody initiated contact and left a voicemail, you can call them back. You can call people that have filled out one of these. You can call to confirm an appointment, and you can follow up with people that after you've submitted enrollment applications. Again, at that point, you would have a business relationship. You can call current enrollees to discuss planned business. In this, if somebody is in, say it's someone that works for Excelis, they're a career agent with Excelis. You can call them when the person is aging into Medicare because they're already there's already a business relationship. So basically just keep in mind, if there's a business relationship, you can contact. No business relationship, they have to make that first contact. So sales and educational events. The basic difference, again, with a marketing events, you're looking at talking about companies, talking about specific plan information, maybe passing out, some companies have, plan comparisons, handing those out. But marketing is geared towards, a company or specific plans. Educational, of course, like communication we talked about earlier, it's talking to people about Medicare. What's the difference between A and B? And, you know, what's the difference between a Medicare Advantage and a Medicare Supplement? And so educational versus marketing. Now, another thing that's different the past few years, sales reps can conduct a marketing event immediately following an educational event in the same general location. If that's going to happen, you have to make people aware of the change and say, you know, the educational event is over, we're going to start a marketing event, or however it's worded, but just so people realize. And then as an example of some things that CMS may require, be on, you know, advertisements or whatever, advertisements and invitations have to say, for a combination of persons with special needs at meetings, call, and then the phone number, and then the TTY number. Sales events can discuss plan info, can discuss plan star ratings, can take applications, plan specific info. For a marketing event, you can provide refreshments and light snacks as long as it's not considered a meal. So initially, when I read that way back when I was learning about Medicare, I thought that was kind of interesting, like, you know, because you can feed people if it's an educational event, but you can't if it's a sales event. I mean, you can feed people a meal at an educational event, but it has to be just like a light snack at a sales event. And the reason being, they don't want people to feel obligated or pressured. So if it's a sales event, you're feeding people a nice meal, you know, they don't want this protected class to think, you know, well, I signed up because they fed me this nice meal and I just felt obligated or pressured. So that's why there's the distinction between light snacks at a sales event and a meal is fine at an educational event. And then you can't bundle light snacks so that it can be looked at as a meal. It's kind of goofy, but that's how they look at that. You can't require people to provide contact as a prerequisite for attending. Sign-in sheets have to be labeled optional. You can't have health screening so that it looks like it's cherry picking. You know, we're only going to sign up the healthy people, which isn't a big issue or any issue really in New York State because of the lack of underwriting. And then again, you can't provide meals. And then if there's a raffle or a drawing, somebody has to put their name and phone number, say, in that raffle or drawing. You can't then use that name and phone number to call people unless they've completed a permission to call. Yeah, this whole silly light snacks versus meals thing. You know, I think it's kind of obvious. I'm going to go past this. It's just basically, again, light snacks at sales marketing events. It's okay. You can't have enough that someone can look at it as a meal, but a meal is fine as an educational event. Educational events have to be advertised at educational. You can talk about communications, which again is just basically information. You can have a banner with a plan name or logo. That's okay. But, you know, and you can distribute like a promotional item if it's got a company name and logo on it, that's fine. It just can't have any kind of benefit information. And this nominal gift rules we'll talk about in a bit. And then, you know, you can educate people about the different ways they can get their Medicare benefits. You can have a healthcare provider there, make an educational presentation on wellness. That's okay. You just can't have it look like, you know, we're only going to sign up the healthy people. Yeah. You can answer questions if somebody asks about Medicare Advantage plans at an educational event. They have to ask. You can set up future appointments. You know, somebody comes to the educational event and says, I need to talk to someone about my situation, you make an appointment, and then that one-on-one appointment would be a marketing sales event. You can get a scope of appointment, which is basically what is, what you're going to be talking to them about, what Medicare, what health plans you're going to be talking. You can distribute business cards, and then you can provide meals, as long as they comply with the nominal gift requirement. Again, we'll talk about that in a bit. You can't have a sales presentation, you can't talk about benefits, you can't engage in marketing activities or hand out enrollment kits. So the nominal value that mentioned a couple times. So a nominal value gift is worth $15 or less, and you're able to give people a nominal gift when they, as part of the event, for them attending an event. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and if you are going to take the AHIP, I've seen this question on the AHIP multiple times. If there is, say it's a book that you want to hand out to people, it's a book on Medicare. The book is, $20, but you buy it in bulk. So you're able to, you're able to get it for less. It's a $20 book. You're able to get it for $15. It's what the book is worth. It's not what you pay for it. So if the book is worth $20, you get it for 15, doesn't matter. It's still worth $20. If you have multiple events throughout the year, you have someone that attends all of your events, they really like your events, you can give them gifts at each event, but it cannot exceed $75 per person per year, the cost of what you give them, or the value of what you give them. So you can't give anything that's in the form of cash or cash equivalents, even if it's less than $15. So you can't give out gift certificates, gift cards, Visa gift cards, debit cards. You can't give any of that out to people. And then drawings, prizes, giveaways. So let's say you're going to have an event. For some reason, you decided that you want to have a band at this event. How much can you spend on the band? So what you're going to do is you're going to estimate, based on how you marketed this event, how many people you can anticipate attending your event. That estimated number you multiply by 15, and that's what you can spend on the band. And so that's how that works. And then you can't give anything of value that would influence them to order or receive from a particular doctor. I mean, there's a lot of rules as far as, the working with doctors in the Medicare world. So you just have to be careful, and you have to make sure that if you do give gifts to people, they understand that there's no obligation to enroll in the plan. So marketing at individual appointments. If you have a one-on-one appointment with somebody, it's an individual marketing appointment. In general, if you're going to meet one-on-one with somebody, it's to talk about their situation, talk about plan options. So it's a sales event. Usually people don't meet one-on-one with someone to just talk to them about Medicare. But if it's a one-on-one appointment, somebody's turning 65, you're going to go over their situation. That's considered an individual marketing event. Okay. And then the scope of appointment. So the way it used to be, the scope of appointment had to be signed at least 48 hours prior to meeting with your client. That's changed. Now you just have to have it signed prior to the appointment, so you can sit down with someone, have them sign the scope of appointment, and then you start the appointment. So it makes life a lot easier. Now, and I have an enrollment kit here. Again, I just grabbed United Healthcare. I'm really not, trying to push one company over another, but each company has their own enrollment kits, and everything that you need is in these enrollment kits. So even if you're going to be taking applications online, there's multiple ways that you can take applications online. You still want to have enrollment kits ordered. You can get them on the company websites, and they're free. So make sure you have some. I refer to them all the time, but everything that you need if you're meeting with somebody is in these kits. One of the things is the scope of appointments, and it's a way to agree to what you're going to talk to the person about. The purpose of it, again, it's a protected group. They don't want us talking to them about Medicare and then at the end of the talk say, well, what's your car insurance situation? Or let's talk about life insurance. So the scope of appointment is just what you've agreed to talk to them about. There's different ways of getting it. There can be an oral agreement that has to be recorded. There are some e-scopes that can be used. So there's a number of ways that someone can get a scope of appointment. So again, it's what they've agreed to discuss, the date, their contact information, and then it says that they're not obligated to enroll in a plan. Individual marketing appointments, you're gonna talk about, plan materials. You can give them an enrollment kit or different marketing materials. You can give educational event as a educational information at a marketing event. You just can't do the opposite, marketing info at an educational event. You can conduct a marketing info, and you can take enrollment forms. You cannot market anything beyond what you've agreed to on the scope of appointment. Nothing as far as non-health related. You can't take an application that's for the annual election period prior to October 15th, unless the person has another enrollment period. So general audience and email marketing. Again, direct mail, newspapers, magazines, television, radio, so you can do all of these because again, somebody sees it, it's got your phone number, they're going to pick up the phone and call you or send you an email if your email address is on there. Okay. And then marketing pieces are subject to CMS approval if they meet the definition of marketing. Again, there's a lot out there that's already CMS approved. And then social media, we're able to use social media to market. There's even things out there that are already CMS approved that you can put on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is that you want to use, LinkedIn. Okay. So marketing practices, again, you have to provide CMS approved marketing materials. There's a lot out there. I'm sure we could find something you like. HIPAA and confidentiality of enrollee information. So protected health information, we have to make sure that that's all kept confidential. That's really important. If someone tells you, they bring it up, I'm interested in whatever, something else, another line of coverage maybe, you have to get their approval to share their PHI. So just know that enrollee protected health information, you do have to keep it confidential. Let's see, marketing and non-health related activities. This is the HIPAA compliant authorization before that you have to get before you share someone's information. Accessing and using certain plan materials. There is a lot on the different company websites: evidence of coverage, summary of benefits, the annual notice of change that somebody's going to get in the mail in September. I mean, all of this information is available online. You know, if you're looking at a company website, you're not sure where to access this information, give me a call and I can walk you through where that's located. And then with an enrollment form, I know I talked about these enrollment kits. You know, everything that you need to give to someone is in these kits. So you don't have to worry after an appointment, I forgot to talk about the plan ratings. I forgot to give them the plan rating information. You know, it's all in here. So, you know, if you're doing a face-to-face, even if you're getting together with somebody and doing an online application, you can give them this and they're going to have everything that they need here. Okay. So, you know, if you are doing a paper app, basically what you do is you rip out the paper app, or some of the companies have envelopes that they have everything in. You take out the application, you give the person everything that's left to take with them. Okay. So it just makes it easy for us and we don't have to worry about forgetting anything. Star ratings, every company, every plan, it has a star rating. In the Rochester area, Excelis 2022 has a number of 5-star rated, not just Rochester, but 5-star rated plans. But each company is rated. And what's kind of interesting with that is the companies are given funding from the government based on their star ratings. So it's a motivation for the different companies to provide, you know, the best possible customer service, or, you know, whatever it is that they can offer to get their star ratings up. So that's exciting. I haven't seen locally a 5-star rated plan up until this year. The star ratings plans are in these enrollment kits, whichever companies you're looking at. One thing that you have to know is that when the next year's star ratings are, when they come out, I believe it's in October, then you have to take out the old star ratings and you have to then provide the most up-to-date star ratings available. So regarding ratings, some things that you can't do. If, let's say, a plan star rating in an individual category is 5 stars, you know, customer service, it's rated 5 stars, but the overall plan rating is only 4 stars, you can't say to someone, this plan is a 5-star rated plan. You have to specify what it's rated 5 stars for. So you can't be misleading in that way. You know, you can't, let's see, target beneficiaries and poor performing plans continue to use an old star rating after 21 days from the release of a new star rating. So when the new star ratings come out, companies will send out emails and let you know. You can print them off and then replace what you've been handing out. So prohibited practices, marketing and communication materials and activities. Again, there's a lot that you can't do, but there is a lot that you can do. You can't in a meeting talk about or market anything that's not health related, annuities, life insurance. Again, that's what the scope is for. It's what you've agreed to. So you can't cross sell. You can't use someone's PHI health information to market unless they've given you a HIPAA authorization that allows you to do that. You can't use a Medicare beneficiary to endorse a plan unless they're an enrollee of the plan when you know, they gave the endorsement. Can't solicit enrollment apps for the annual election period prior to October 15th. You can't use marketing materials that have not been approved by CMS, and you can't charge beneficiaries marketing fees. You can't discriminate, kind of obvious, can't discriminate. You can't encourage people to enroll based on health status unless the plan is made. Let's say they have a health condition, you can then tell them about a chronic special needs plan for that health condition that you can do. But and again, in New York State, there's not underwriting, so that's, you know, for med sup, so that's not a big deal. But you got to be careful with how things appear. No aggressive marketing. Again, it's a protected class. Can include, you know, prohibited marketing practices, nothing high pressure, no bait and switch, nothing misleading or confusing. Kind of obvious. Not that any of us would do that anyway. You can't use that word best. So I've had people ask me before, you know, what's the best plan in this area? There really isn't one. It's what's best for that person based on their drug list, their physician list, you know, based on their specific situation. So there's no one plan that is the best. So you really have to be careful using that word. And then, of course, nothing false or misleading. More things that you can't do. You can't say that Medicare, CMS, or government agency endorses or recommends the plan. Now, if you've ever gotten an email from me, you'll notice that I show in my signature, in my email, it lists me as a Medicare specialist. I had to stop and think, what does it say? Medicare specialist. If I am, you know, if there's an agent that's asked me to talk to their client and I send an email to the client, I change that from Medicare specialist to senior care specialist, because we're not supposed to give the, you know, the implication that we work with Medicare at all. So that's, you know, that's something that we have to be careful of. I once emailed CMS, forgot to change that, and they came back and said, you know, you're not supposed to do that. Yeah, I know. You can't say free in conjunction with, you know, premiums, deductibles. So you got to be careful with that word. People that, let's see, unless they're promoting a DSNP, you can't say that a plan's designed for dually eligible people. The plan has a relationship with a state Medicaid agency, unless that's a fact. And you can't target marketing efforts to dually eligible people, again, unless you're promoting a dual plan. And I kept this slide because I like example 2. I like some of the things that you can't say. You can't say, I'm certified by Medicare to sell this plan, because it makes it sound like you work for Medicare. If your doctor accepts Medicare, she accepts this plan. We cover all drugs without restrictions. It's better to choose a different company if you're sick. And then again, that word best, whatever plan it is the best Medicare plan you can buy. No such thing. Open enrollment period. So the beginning of each year, from January 1st until the end of March, there's a Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. And we're going to go through enrollment periods more in the last module, but this enrollment period, it's for people that already have a Medicare Advantage plan and they want to switch to a different one. To take advantage of this enrollment period, they have to have a Medicare Advantage plan already. The tricky part about this enrollment period is we can't market it. So it's if somebody happens to call you at the beginning of the year, maybe they signed up for a plan, with a January 1st effective date, and then they found out that their doctor is not in network, or they need to take a different prescription drug that's not in the formulary, then you can tell them you can change plans. But we can't market this open enrollment period. So that's something to keep in mind. So during the open enrollment period, you can market other things. People turning 65, market to 5-star plans. And we'll talk about that next module, the different enrollment periods. So you can do what you normally would do marketing wise during the open enrollment period. You just can't market the open enrollment period. Again, it's when somebody brings it up. I really don't like the Medicare Advantage plan I signed up for. Well, they can change. And then we talked about this beneficiary referrals. You can now, solicit a little bit more than you could previously. By solicit, I mean like hand out business cards asking for referrals. We can do that a little bit easier now than we used to be able to. So marketing in a healthcare setting, you have to be careful. I mean, you can do it, but you just have to be careful. You, of course, can't market in areas where patients receive healthcare, like an exam room. I mean, I don't know who would market in someone's exam room, but you can't. Dialysis treatment center, hospital patient rooms. You can't go, over to Strong Hospital and go in people's rooms and talk to them about Medicare Advantage plans. Pharmacy counters and just treatment areas where people interact with a provider. You can see there are things that you can do. Engage in marketing areas and marketing activities in common areas. So in a cafeteria, community or rec room, waiting room, common entryway, a conference room, and a pharmacy, but away from the pharmacy counter. Now, we, for 1 year, a while back, we were able to have a kiosk at a Wegmans, a local Wegmans. And we just had to make sure that the kiosk was situated a certain number of feet from the Wegmans pharmacy. So it was more like in the, near the checkouts. But so just be aware, anything like that, you have to be careful where you market. You can do it. It's just where that you have to think about. So long-term care facilities, you can schedule an appointment, but only if the person requests it. Again, protected class, they have to make that first point of contact. You have to have that appointment to do that, okay? You can set up in a common area facility and then allow people to come up to you. So marketing to employer union groups, totally different. If you are working with employer union groups, the rules are totally different. It says that you have to follow all the marketing rules and guidelines, except you can make unsolicited contacts, you can cross-sell, you can, the scope of appointment rule is different. You can provide meals. I mean, just know if you're going to be marketing to an employer or union group, I mean, give me a call. We can walk through this, but the rules are totally different when you're marketing to those groups. So oversight and enforcement. So there's so many rules, what you can and can't do. I promise you that, once you've done a few events, it really does all make sense. Try not to let this overwhelm you. Just keep thinking, okay, it's a protected class. But, plan oversight with all of these rules. What's going to happen if I forget or didn't realize, you know, what could happen. So plan sponsors, and I think this was also actually on an AHIP, part of an AHIP question. Plan sponsors are responsible for ensuring compliance. Now, there is such a thing. If you're going to be involved at a kiosk at all, and a lot of the different drugstores have kiosks available, let me know if you're interested. They do have secret shoppers. So if you're going to be at a kiosk, they could have somebody come up. They can be from the plan sponsor, it can be the company that's sponsoring the kiosk, it can be CMS, because remember, we have to file all of the kiosk shifts with CMS so they know it's happening, or with the, you know, with the company. What I've heard is that they'll come up to the kiosk and say, what's the best plan? And see what you say. But there are secret shoppers. And when we had the kiosk at Wegmans, there were situations where secret shoppers were there. And then if there's something wrong, they'll file a report, and the agent is told. So there was a situation where an agent had a shift. He was late. All right. So if your shift is from 12 to 2, you have to make sure you're there for your shift. The secret shopper went at the beginning and he wasn't there yet. So that's a big no-no. What he ended up having to do was just log back onto the company website and take an additional training, kind of the do's and don'ts, and you know, of marketing at kiosks, something like that. But there are other things. So if it's something that they see that you're continually doing, they can withhold or you know, not pay you commissions. Retraining is what happened to this other person. They can terminate you. They can say you can't sell our products anymore, and you can't work the kiosk anymore. And then they report that to the State Department of Insurance and CMS. So basically, my experience with this is that people continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. You know, that's when these type of disciplinary actions can occur. That's been my experience anyway. So say the plan lets the state insurance department know that the agent was terminated. If the state comes back and asks questions, they have to let them know what they did. So, you know, CMS has to be told, the state has to be told if they're requiring what, you know, why the agent was terminated. They just want to make sure that there's not people out there, you know, continually doing things that they're not supposed to do. So compensation. Compensation includes commissions, bonuses, gifts, prizes, referral or finder's fees. There are a few things here that are not included compensation. So every year, the different companies come out with, based on what CMS has allowed, you know, what the amount that is going to be allowed for commissions. Now it's capped, and they're all the same. And the reason for that is they want to make sure that one company isn't paying twice as much as another company, because then what's going to happen? Agents are going to be pushing the one company potentially that's paying twice as much commissions. They want to avoid that protected class. So it's all the same. So whether you're selling an Aetna Medicare Advantage plan, an Excelis Medicare Advantage plan, you know, the commission is going to be the same. Now, a plug for CAFL, we don't keep any of that. Some agencies do maybe have commissions paid to them. They keep part of the commission and pay the balance to the agent. CAFL doesn't do that. You'll get paid for every company that allows it. I think there's only maybe one out there, that one or two potentially, that doesn't allow agents getting paid direct. you're paid direct, and you're going to get paid the top. You know, in New York State, I'll give you an idea. In 2022, for an initial plan, somebody that's new to Medicare, it's $573. And then replacement renewal is about half that. Drug plans, standalone drug plans, initials $87, replacement renewal $44. I'm looking down because I have this chart right here. And then med subs are all different depending on the companies. Okay. So that's how that works. In general, commissions pay if you have somebody that's new to Medicare, they have, say, a 5/1 effective date. Commissions in general pay after that. Companies frequently will pay, the person's new to Medicare, they'll pay the renewal replacement commission first, and then they'll get verification from CMS that the person is in fact new to Medicare. Then they'll pay the rest of your commissions. So that's how that works. Applicability of rules. Let's see. If someone is a captive agent, which again, that means, you know, works for Excelis, works for Aetna, they can only sell those plans. They could have a different compensation structure. I'm just familiar with what independent agents earn because that's who I work with, is independent agents. And then there are referral finders fees. They are maxed. So if somebody refers, say it's an agent that doesn't want to go through the appointment and certification process, excuse me, they don't want to go through the employment or appointment and certification process, but they have someone interested in Medicare. They refer that person to you. You write the plan. You are able to give them a referral or a finder fee, and it's capped. So for a Medicare Advantage and a Med Sup, you can pay them up to $100. For a standalone drug plan, it's $25. So just know that it can happen, but it's capped as to what you can legally pay. If somebody writes a plan, but they were not appointed and certified, not going to get paid. You know, not licensed. Let's see here. Yeah, so every year, if somebody wants to receive, an agent wants to receive renewal fees, you know, they have to go through the certification process annually. We talked about the amounts, you know, like renewal year enrollments, including plan changes between like plans. If somebody has a Medicare Advantage plan, they're switching to a different Medicare Advantage plan, you're not going to get that full $573. You're going to get the replacement commission, which is half or about half, $287. Let's see here, applicable amounts. Yeah, this talks about two plans, dual plan enrollment. So if somebody is in two plans at once, so let's say Med Sup and a standalone drug plan, compensation, of course, applies independently to each plan, and they don't have to be. So somebody can have a Med Sup with one company. They can have a standalone drug plan with another company. It doesn't have to be the same plan. And again, we talked about this, what can be paid for a finder's fee, and then this $573 that we talked about, $287 for 2022 commissions. That's the cap. Nobody can pay any more than that. Let's see here. Plans have to file with CMS if they're going to let independent agents sell their products. A few years back, Excelis, they hadn't allowed independent agents to sell their Medicare plans. They then changed that, so everyone was frantically becoming appointed and certified with Excelis. So they have to, you know, the company has to file with CMS and let them know if they're going to allow independent agents to sell their products. Again, normally it's, you know, paid after the plan date. So let's say you sign somebody up, they have a May 1st effective date. That plan is going to go to the end of the year. It's not May 1st to May 1st. It's May 1st until the end of the year. The plan will renew in January 1st. And then from then on, it's annual. Okay. So rapid, let's see, we're going to be talking about rapid disenrollment. There are situations where, you know, they may pay for the entire enrollment year, even if the person isn't going to be enrolled for 12 months. I've seen that a lot. So if they do pay a full comp and the person disenrolls, they're going to be, they're going to recoup a prorated amount for when the person isn't enrolled. Now, rapid disenrollment, what that means, in the first 3 years of enrollment, the person disenrolls. Now, how do we avoid this? By keeping in touch with our clients. Call them, you know, do you have any questions? Did you get your cards? What can I do for you? Because what you don't want is they don't get their card, they don't understand something, they just get frustrated. They'll call and potentially disenroll, and then your commission is going to be, you know, taken back. Now, there are situations where they won't recoup compensation. Person becomes duly eligible. I mean, there's a list here of situations. Person moved out of the service area where they potentially couldn't take the commissions back, but just be aware of rapid disenrollment. Okay, we're going to move on from that. Now, yeah, this has been there's been a lot of information. So frequently asked questions, I actually just kept a couple. I was going through this when I was reviewing the PowerPoint, and I did keep a few because, again, I've seen them on the AHIP. This is the one question, or the one thing that I talked about earlier, that if you're going to say, give a gift to people that attend an event, remember there's that $15 limit as to what it can be worth. You're able to buy the books in bulk. It's a $20 book, you can get it for $15. Doesn't work. It's still worth more than $15. So that's not gonna fly. You can't do that. Let's see. And then this is someone comes to more than one of your events in a year. They really like your events, so they keep coming. You can give them gifts at each event, but it can't be the nominal value of the total amount of what you've given them in a year can't be more than $75. Possible promotional items that you can give. Yeah, all of these, if they're offered to everyone, you can't say, you know, I'm going to give you this ticket, but not you. It's got to be offered to everybody. The gifts have a retail value of $15 or less per marketing event. Can't do cash gifts. Let's see, a raffle or door prize. Yeah, but the total value can't exceed, and this is kind of my band situation that we talked about earlier. Okay. And then, can a marketing rep take people to a casino night? No, sounds fun, but you can't do that. It's you know, you can't, because the person's earnings would be paid in cash. So there's no cash gifts. There's no monetary equivalent to cash, including gift certificates, gift cards. You can't do this. So this is the end of our long module for training. Additional more information places here to go online. If anything seemed confusing, I know a lot of it, you know, may initially seem like, oh, there's so much, I'm afraid that I'm going to mess something up. It's really not that bad, I promise. I can work with you as far as what your plans are. If you want to do an event, I can help you through that. but please, please reach out to me with any questions or any plans that you might have. My phone number, again, 585-271-6400, extension 101. Email address is janine@kafl.com. Janine is spelled JEANINE @KAF like Frank, L like Larry.com. Thank you. And the next module, module 5, we'll be talking about enrollment. Thanks, everyone.